Welcome to the Post Up. This is your weekly NBA show where usually three friends, but today only two friends because Dylan Bond has fucking quit on us. Talk about the association. I am back. Thank you very much for holding it down to Dolan and Dylan last week. I was on vacation with the family. Dolan and I have taken about 15, 20 minutes before the show started to talk about how my vacations are significantly more fun than his because he has two kids. In that right,
Yeah,
dude?
that's a
Yeah,
fact.
that's an absolute fact.
That's a
I was
fact.
chilling in the Outer Banks, sleeping in until about 7:30. The lady was snoozing until about 9. Dolan will get up every day at 4 in the morning with both of his children to then stroll around a campground. Is that correct?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, in a few weeks, I'll be heading on vacation myself on a campground, and shout out to all those parents, man. I know you know my feeling where it's just like you envy those people. You get to go on vacation and relax. Like before kids, you get to go and go have like a good time, and
Yeah.
then you have kids and go on vacation with kids, and you're like, man, this is worse than being at home. So it was quite the realization. It was a painful realization for me. So shout out to those parents on vacation, going on vacation, been on vacation with those kids, because I know that shit ain't easy. We got a 8-month-old sitting in the sand trying to eat that shit, man. I know that ain't easy. So shout out to you. You're doing great.
Dolan
Meanwhile,
is
Michael's sitting here at 30 and he's just brilliant. He's got no kids. He just gets to go on vacation and vacation. So shout
yeah,
out to
Dolan,
him as well.
you're 31 and you got two kids, right?
30 years old, two
30 years
children.
old. Two children. I am 30 years old. Dolan is he's a grade above me though, but I'm 30, no children. I guess the look ahead is when Dolan's 43 years old, they'll be gone. When I'm 43, they'll be just getting into high school possibly, maybe even 10 years old by then. So,
That's right.
I'll be
That's right.
way behind you, dude. You'll be
Yeah.
chilling on a beach with a couple margs hanging
Oh,
out
and
and
I'm
I'll
gonna
be
let your ass know too, Cat.
It's just a two-man booth today. Dylan is off enjoying his vacation, or maybe not, because he's also got
Yeah,
a
he
child.
has a child. Who
Yeah,
knows?
who knows? We stay tuned for next week. We will find out. Check in with Dylan Bond, see how he's doing. Give the show a follow at the Post Up Boys on Twitter. We have done a deep dive into this upcoming draft. We've given projections of who we think should go per each pick, counting down from 14 to 1. I know it's a bit backwards, but stay with us. It's a lot of fun. Get involved. Tell us who you would take at each draft. Counting down until the NBA draft, which was robbed from Detroit. We'll talk about that in this
Man,
show for sure. Something as we will get into deep dive. Dolan, what have you done today, dude? What was the anything big going on today before we get into all the goings on?
our Liberty won. We're
Exactly.
we're massive, massive New York
Massive.
Liberty fans, and I've never liked a New York team in my life, but we all took, we had a text thread go out a couple days ago, and everybody had to claim a WNBA team, and somehow all of us just landed on Liberty, and I was the
Love
first
it.
to call it out, so I'm going to pat my own back here. I was the leader here
Ringleader.
per
Yeah.
usual, and everybody
Oh,
followed per usual.
fuck off.
But yeah, we're huge New York Liberty fans, so we enjoyed Brianna Stewart and Sabrina. I to this day I don't know how to say her last name, but shout out Sabrina.
Ionescu, I
Sorry,
think.
there you
I
go.
think.
Thank you. They had a great game today, so shout out Liberty. We're just
Shout out.
massive, massive Liberty fans.
There are no bigger New York Liberty fans than myself, Ryan Dolan, Dylan Bond, and Nate McCullen. Shout out to the New York Liberty. Let's talk some NBA, dude.
Let's do it, man.
Finals are
Yeah,
pretty electric. I'm pretty sure you had the Nuggets in 5. I had Nuggets in 4. I
I
believe
think
that's
so.
correct. Yeah,
I
I
believe
believe
I
that's
believe so.
correct. This
Been a
is
while.
it has been actually has been a while. It's why
These
it's
3-day
it's
breaks in between games
crazy.
or I guess 2-day breaks, but it's three days in between games is these finals feel like they last a long time.
Yeah, you ain't kidding. The Nuggets are currently up 3-1.
Yes, they are.
It's looking like they are going to finish the thing in Denver, correct? Going back to Denver right now.
Yes, yeah. The next
Yeah.
game will be in Denver.
I mean, it's looking like this is going to be closed out. let's talk on Denver first, and then we'll get over to Miami. Obviously, not done. We'll talk about what Miami needs to do to get back into this. But right now, man, how fucking good is Jokic? Game one comes out, and just kind of sleepwalks into a double double. Game two, they forced him to score. They got caught up there, but last game, man, this guy. What was his stat line? 32, 20. What was his stat line? Triple
So
double him in?
so 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 2 games ago, he dropped 32, 21, and 10. The prior last game, he dropped 23, 12, and 4. So, by Jokic standards, not quite as good, but he also threw in 3 steals, 3 blocks, and
Yeah,
like a multitude of kickballs, which it's funny to say that out loud and like think that that made an impact, but
yeah.
Miami was having some great backdoor cuts, and these plays got blown up by these kickballs. And this is something you'll only understand if you sat and watched this game. Jokic played the greatest feet defensive game I think I've ever watched in my life. I feel like he had 6 or 7 kickballs that blew up what could have been really, really easy buckets for Miami. So, I've never been one to compliment his defense very much, but he was active, man. He had active hands, he had active feet. It led to 3 steals, 3 blocks. Um, I believe he was one of 3 or 4 guys to ever put up his stat line, which is funny to say. And they said it to him in his press conference, like you're one of X amount of guys to put up the stat line. And he was so confused. He was just befuddled over what they were telling him. And he literally looks at them and he's like, I had 23, 12, and 4.
Did you hear what he said? He goes, "That's not even that big of a line." Did you hear him saying that?
Yeah.
That's such a
I,
fucking
and it's
good.
funny. I've grown to love Jokic. I will always say his name wrong.
Yeah.
Just forgive me for that. I'm just so naturally say Jokic. But there's always the Jokic and Embiid rivalry, which at
Mm.
this point, I'm not wasting my energy on. I think
Why is
I
that a
think
thing? Why is that a thing? Because I don't get that. Just because they're sinners, I think that's a dumb.
Yeah, I mean, they were the two, they're the two centers kind of trying to change the game back into the old ways, I guess. Last year's MVP race was really, really
Yeah,
close. That developed the rivalry more so between fans. Embiid and
yeah.
Jokic probably don't give a shit, especially Jokic.
Especially,
Embiid,
yeah, yeah,
Embiid, it almost kind of seems like he does, but
yeah.
Jokic definitely doesn't seem like he gives a damn. But I think that last year's race caused a little bit of a riff in between fans, especially on Twitter. Man, Twitter's a crazy place. Of people arguing over who deserves what and when. Um, but I've grown to love Jokic in these press conferences, man. All the guy wants to do is win, and you got to respect that. And it was so funny to see, like, hey, you're one of the first players to do this, this, and this, and he was just like, what?
Yeah, yeah,
He was
yeah,
blown away by this shit. So
yeah,
I don't know, just funny stuff. He's got a good personality. He'd be a good kind of face of the league, and he's trending that way.
yeah. You ain't yeah. You know what the weird? You know what he strikes me as? He strikes me as a guy that like. I'm not. I know his motivation is to win and be a good teammate, but I could definitely see this guy. How old is he? Real quick, look that up for me. He's
28.
28. I could definitely see him coming to 32 and just be like, "Hey, I'm out. I'll see you later," and go. I mean, he's gotten paid. If he wins at least 1 or 2 rings, like what's this day? I can definitely see him just kind of fading off into the distance, and I mean, he definitely doesn't want to be the face of the league. You know what I
I
mean?
If there's one guy that's gonna do it, it's him, and and
Yeah,
and Luka actually referenced that at one point, and, he's so much younger than Jokic, so a little part of me doesn't wanna believe him, but, like, Luka said, "I don't think I'll be in the league that long," referring to, like, LeBron's scoring total or something
yeah,
like that. They're like, "Do you think you'll catch up?" And he said, "I don't think I'll be in the league that long." I would believe Jokic saying that a lot more than
for
Luka. Like
sure.
Jokic does seem like the guy that would just kind of ride off into the sunset at a fairly early age and just go enjoy his horses for the
Quite
rest of his
literally
life.
on his horses right off into the
Yeah,
sunset. I mean, he just does not care. He's so damn good though, man. I mean, this guy is
wonderful
so
player.
unbelievable. Quite literally sleepwalks into these numbers. He just it it's I don't want to compare it to KD, but it's like it's KD-esque where everything just seems so easy. And I'm just like, how is this guy just kind of walking around just getting these numbers, man? Such a good teammate. And then on the other side with him, Jamal Murray. I said on a couple shows ago. I mean, there are so many other guards you'd probably take over Jamal Murray, but he has come out this playoffs in particular. After tore his ACL last year, 2 years ago?
It was 2 years ago,
Yeah, yeah.
I believe.
Tore his ACL and he's kind of gotten himself back, but I mean, this guy has become so good. He's putting himself in that bracket with these other guys. it's so hard, man. We're not going to dive into, who would you rather have, but it's just give Murray his flowers, man. This guy has been absolutely unreal. And another guy who's been unreal, Dolan, a kind of throughout the whole playoffs, maybe one of these underappreciated guys, Aaron fucking Gordon, man, has been
So good last game.
good. What did Orlando trade for this? I mean, what did Denver trade for this guy?
Great question. I'm gonna need you to
It's
talk for a
the
minute and
no,
cover
yeah,
us
go ahead,
while
do
I
your
look
thing,
that
man.
up.
I mean, this guy has gone into every single series, this playoffs, and he's guarded the best player. He is that typical guarded the best player, been forced to shoot when he's been Miami's not just Miami, but every single series they forced him to shoot, and it seems like every time they give him the three ball, he's just draining that thing with no problem. But what'd
Yeah.
they trade?
They traded Gary Harris, who's still been a mainstay for Orlando, and RJ Hampton, who had potential at the time.
Hmm,
He's still there, so he could fulfill that potential, but it's not looking great. And
yeah,
then a 2025 first round pick. So, not technically from the Magic standpoint, not really a bad haul at all. So it's not like they got robbed here by any means, but on the flip side, Aaron Gordon's playing key minutes
yeah.
in NBA finals. They also received Gary Clark for the Nuggets received Gary Clark as well
Shout out
for
Gary Clark, friend of
yeah,
the show.
Gary, big friend of the show for
Yeah,
sure.
it,
So it's we can't even say that the Magic got robbed or anything like
yeah.
that, but um, yeah,
Depends on who they take in 2025, but
yeah,
I mean, they could.
exactly. But
That's a
good trade there.
Yeah, exactly. If it comes out for if it works out for the Magic that they get a good player in 2025, this will be an even trade because Aaron Gordon's not going to be a superstar. He's not going to be what Orlando was trying to turn him into. But for this Nuggets team, man, he has been fucking yeah, chef's fucking kid. He's been good, man. This guy,
Yep.
it's wild, man. Everybody on this Denver team to a T. This is just a true team effort here. KCP's been good. I don't know. How do you feel about Michael Porter Jr.? I'm not a big,
He was
as you guys should know, I've been taking his unders a lot,
yeah.
not in this series, but how do you feel about Michael Porter Jr., man?
He was great until the finals, and then at that point,
Yeah,
he almost became unplayable. I thought his effort level was really questionable, which I don't understand how that's even possible at this point.
yeah.
On that note, KCP actually in the finals, he's kind of the same way. He played some pretty damn solid basketball leading up to
Piston
this
legend.
point, but hasn't been that great in the finals. But um, Aaron Gordon stepped up.
Yeah.
Bruce Brown stepped up.
Bruce
Christian
Brown.
Brown stepped up.
Yeah. Christian
Uh,
Brown. Yeah. Christian Brown. What? Bruce Brown, KCP, Piston legends. Unbelievable stuff that
yeah,
they're both suiting up for Detroit now. They're not doing anything. Neither one of them would be anything if they were still in Detroit. So, I mean, good for them. It's one of those things that it's not going to work out where they're at. So, I wish them the best. I love watching these guys ball out, man. I famously on this show have slept heavy on Denver and Miami. And this Denver team's been an absolute fucking joy to watch. Uh, who were they preseason favorites?
no.
Yeah, nowhere near, right?
No way. No, 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 no.
I didn't think so. I mean, nowhere
I
near the top.
believe Nets were,
Yeah, it's crazy. Great. What a long dude, what a long season
long
this has
season.
been.
And if you're listening and you have Twitter, hop on Twitter and there's a thread. And
Yeah,
basically the key tweet is this has to be the funniest season
yeah,
ever. And
yeah,
all of the quote tweets of all of the moments from this season have branched into this absolute gem,
yeah.
absolute
Jim,
gem of a thread. And please do yourself a favor, look at this. And it's crazy now that we're
take about
sitting
30
here.
minutes out of your life now. I
Yeah,
mean, take
yeah,
30 minutes and sit down. It's good
yeah.
though.
It's that good. I mean, and we're obviously so close to the end of the season, which is a little devastating. But look back and think about what we
Yeah,
witnessed this season, and it's crazy. It's
yeah,
crazy. It's like a reality TV show mixed with sports. The NBA is just a little bit
yeah,
different. NFL just kind of has really good games, and their players go and like hit women or something like that. Whereas the NBA is just like they have really good games. They have some shit games too, but these guys are funny as shit, whether they
yeah.
mean to me or not. And there's funny moments, and man, this thread is just so beautiful, man. So yeah, do
I
yourself
will
a favor, go check out that thread if you can find it,
I will put that thread on the show's Twitter at the Post Up Boys. Go
please.
there if you don't know what we're talking about, and you'll find it. I'll give it a nice retweet. Tell everybody come check this out.
Yeah,
On back into this final series, man. Miami is there down 3-1. We've only seen one team do this. LeBron and the Cavs, team of destiny.
Yeah.
Is there any chance Miami comes back?
It's not looking great, man. I thought, Jimmy got hurt at one point in the playoffs, and he just never really
Yeah,
seemed to look back to normal. And it's funny, man. It's funny because I feel like Jimmy's getting a little bit of a pass. If other players were in his shoes currently, I feel like there'd be a lot to say. Now
could not agree more.
in my opinion, he's been pretty bad in the finals. Bad is maybe a little overstated. He has not been great at all. Um, he's definitely been underperforming, and they need him bad. And I think he's almost getting away with how good he was early in the playoffs. Now, if you're
Mhm.
hurt, you're hurt. It sucks. I'm sure it's hard to sit on the court knowing your abilities being taken away by an injury. Um, but again, I just gave him a pass in a sense. Like I feel like he's getting a pass. He's not even the leading scorer of the series on the Heat. Bam Adebayo is at 22.3 points.
Yeah,
Jimmy Butler's averaging 21.8. He's shooting 44.6% from the field for a guy that doesn't really shoot many threes. That's not good, man. It's just
yeah.
not. It's not it. 6.8 assists is pretty awesome. 1.3 turnovers is terrific. So, from a facilitating standpoint, he's been pretty awesome. But I mean, they need their 27, 28 points per game guy back. And, uh,
To
you
be
know,
fair to Jimmy, he said playoff Jimmy's not a thing. And
he
we've
did.
seen for most of this playoffs, it has been a thing. But now the finals turn around. My whole thing with this, right, is whether this is true or not, sorry about it, but this is like the mantra that Jimmy Butler carries around, that he doesn't like weakness and shit like that. You know what I mean? I mean, he famously in Minnesota calling out Cat for not giving full effort. Not saying he's not giving full effort, but no, we don't know what his injury is. We truly don't have any idea. He's not come out and said anything, but he isn't. I mean, he's just not performing in this final series here. As everybody knows, I'm not a big fan of Bam Adebayo, but he is playing decent. I'd say. I mean, I'm saying I don't think he's played great, but
I
he's
think
played
he's been
good.
pretty damn good,
Did he
technically.
really? I think he's been fine. I think he's been fine. I mean, this is. I think what you're looking at here in this finals is what Bam's complete and total ceiling is. I don't think this is any. Go ahead.
But let's pay respect to the fact that he's he's putting up that performance. He's putting up his highest level of performance in the biggest moment. So I
For
think
sure.
that in itself deserves a lot of credit.
For sure. No, absolutely. I agree. I think that there's a lot of I know Miami's down bad right now. I'm not trying to make them down even more bad, but there's a lot of talk about Bam and what he could be and the potential of him. And I think, and this is not a knock on him, what you're looking at, this is where his absolute is. And it's great that he's doing this against Jokic and against Aaron Gordon and things like that. But I just don't think he is what everybody thinks he could be. I'm not really sure. Again, I asked this on a couple weeks ago, like, what is Bam? And we didn't really have a great answer. I think this is it. This level that you're seeing right here, this is the absolute best you're going to get out of him. He needs help. Jimmy Butler's not been helping out. Max Strus, couple games here and there, he's been good. Duncan
Pretty much
Robinson
one good
shooting,
game.
yeah, that's it. I mean, Duncan Robinson shooting is going cold. Where we need to put some flyers out. Where the
Yeah.
fuck has Caleb Martin been? I mean, where
6.8 points a game this series
it's T's and P's to every
on
single Celtics fan.
on 35% shooting too. So uh
That's miserable.
another just it's awesome to be a team where you can rely on role players to step up, and whether it be random role players, if it's a revolving door of role players that step up, and it got you this far. That's it's such a luxury to have. However, the finals gets tough to do that, man, and they just haven't had it. Gabe Vincent was wonderful in games 1 and 2, and then he was the most irrelevant player of the series in games 2 and 3, which is was still fine from role players perspective to be fine, pretty damn good in two out
Yeah,
of four games. But um I mean, they have four guys averaging 10 or more points, and that's very costly. Obviously, we would expect that from Bam and Jimmy. Then Gabe's averaging 12.8, but he's been a no-show the past two games,
yeah.
mostly because of foul trouble. Then Kyle Lowry's putting up 10.5, and then they just have an influx of random guys, including Max Strus. What the fuck are you doing,
What?
pal?
I know.
Um, this man's averaging 4.3 points on 16% shooting so far in the finals. So, and he's playing 23.3
Yeah.
minutes. Obviously, those minutes are a little bit down, but that's only because he's been unplayable because he's just been so bad. So, um, while it's really nice to be able to count on your role players, they only could get you but so
They're role
far, it
players. The
feels like.
reason they're
And
role players.
yeah, exactly. And this series has just been a great example of that. Whereas, we've watched the Denver Stars show up pretty much every damn night. I mean,
Yeah.
Murray's had double digit assists in every
Yeah.
single game. Last game, even though he was 5 of 17 shooting, I think, but he had 12 assists, 0 turnovers. And that, man,
Unreal.
oh man, that, I mean, I'm such a basketball nerd, but that excites me to no end. Sorry, I couldn't
Yeah.
think of what I was trying to say, but that excites me to no end. I'm such a big assist to turnover ratio guy, and it
He
doesn't get better than 12-0. So,
He's been
um,
unreal, man. He's been
yeah,
again. No, not taking anything away from Denver here. Give them their flowers. Their defense has been impeccable. But you saw it last year with Golden State. These role players, stepping up and doing their thing and kind of will helping out Golden State get that title. You see it every single year, and just Miami's role players have not truly stepped up in the way that we've quite literally watched them the rest of this playoffs, and it's
nah,
it's a sad thing to see here at the end. And for everybody talking about Boston would have given them a better game, or Lakers Boston would have been an awesome game, it wouldn't have because they didn't get there. It's the way it goes. They're both out, and
should
that's
have
just
beat the Miami
yeah,
Heat.
yeah. I mean that's just the way it is. Like this is the most. I hate those kind of conversations. The most shoulda would. The Pistons could be in the finals right now. They could.
All right, all
Like
right,
what the
all right,
fuck we
all right.
talking? Yeah.
Take it easy, pal. Easy, big
Easy,
guy.
pal.
Put it
Easy,
back in your
pal.
pants.
All right, this is next game. Is it Monday or Tuesday? We're recording on
I
a
believe it's
Sunday.
tomorrow. Yeah, it is Monday
It's
at
tomorrow.
8:30 p.m. on ABC/ESPN.
Denver close it out, or is Miami getting one here?
Uh, Denver closes this bad boy out, man.
It's done. Yeah, it's done. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna give you a final score: 100-88.
Yeah, part of me wants to say, and it kind of fills in with what you said. I technically don't think it's particularly close. By the time you guys are listening to this, we could
We could
both
look
look
like
like
dipshits.
assholes, but
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
that's fine. That's kind of, that's part of the game, but I don't really think it's particularly close.
yeah.
In fact, I'm gonna pass off to you here in a second.
I would
I'm
love
gonna
to
look
see
and
Miami
see what
come
the
back.
spread is,
Go
and
ahead. I would love to see Miami come back. I would love it. Give me more basketball. The season's almost
yes,
over. It's been an awesome season. I'm a Pistons fan, and I'm telling you, it's been an awesome season. Like this
yeah,
has been, and stick around because even though the game's going to end and the series is going to end, we have so much shit coming up this off season. I mean, the truly think about it. I'll give you a sneak peek here. I don't think this rookie class is being talked about enough. This rookie class has been ups and downs, but they have been fucking electric. And almost every team this entire year has had a talking point. And this offseason, we're going to cover every single bit of it. But go ahead, dude. What you got there?
damn right we are. Yeah, I mean, I was just saying, I was interested in Denver spread. It's actually -9. They're 9-point favorites for tomorrow. I was thinking I'd be
I'm not touching a
interested.
-9 in a
Yeah,
final. I do
uh,
like them to
I'm
win
good.
more than that. Yeah, exactly. I'll
Considering desperation, I actually don't even mind the Heat at +9 there. So,
exactly.
uh,
I'll stick to my 100-88, which would cover that -9. But I'm not. Doesn't mean I'm playing it. You know what I mean? I'm not putting my. I like it, but I'm not putting money on it. That's the way that kind of goes right there.
yeah,
This I think Denver close it out. I think they win, 5 games. I had them in 4. This series has kind of gone the way I thought. I'm surprised Miami got a game, but it's the finals at the end of the day. You do expect both of these teams to come out and play, but shout out Denver, man. Such a good team. Let's move on outside of the finals. Let's talk about other things going on around the game of basketball. Damian Lillard has, I don't know if you've seen this as much as I have, but on Twitter, I mean, this has been like a massive, massive talking point. And a lot of rumors circling on, I keep seeing conflicting on if Portland's going to stay with Dame or if they're going to move away from Damian Lillard. What are you, I'm going to give you my thoughts and then I want to hear yours. If I'm Portland, sometimes, man, shit just don't work out. And I think, no disrespect to you, but I think Philadelphia is almost at that point with Embiid and everything. That sometimes such a good thing, it's so good, but it's just not getting you to that final result for whatever reason. Bumps in the road on the journey, but I think it's time, man. I think you got a good young core and potentially in Portland. I think it's time, man. You can get a pretty decent haul for Dame. Send him off somewhere that's good. I just don't see what you're trading for with that number 3 overall pick. I mean, I don't know what you're getting back. A
I
lot
don't
of the
either.
reports have been Siakam.
I'm
I
good.
don't think that's yeah, I'm good. I'm way good. The other report I've seen is Bradley Beal. I mean, I get I'm still good in the West. I'm still
But
very good.
all right, so let's go ahead and say they make this trade. Let's say they
Yep.
grab Bradley Beal. And, I mean, we can even include Siakam.
Yeah.
Obviously it's one or the other, but say they go and grab Beal and place him beside Dame, they're still not contenders.
No, they're not. No.
What are you built? What are you building towards? And how often do you get the number 3 pick? So I'm sorry, I'll let you finish because
No, no, no. No, no,
I have
you're
a lot to
spot
say
on,
about
man.
this.
Everything you said is spot on. And for me, I'm looking at Dame and I'm just like, "Hey man, you've been an absolute fucking legend and everybody talks about your loyalty and it should be brought up, but you've been handsomely paid for that loyalty. So, good on you. I mean, not only am I going to pay you a fuck ton of money for your loyalty, I will ship you to wherever you want. I mean, that's such a good way to go out. Hang the man's jersey in the rafters, build him a statue for all I give a shit. But this is the time right here. You got the number 3 overall pick. I'm not going to tell you who I'd draft. It's not Scoot, but again, go to our Twitter at the Post Up Boys, and you will see who we've got going on at the number 3 overall pick. I think this is such a perfect time to trade Dame, and if it's me, I'm sending him to Philly and I'm getting Maxi, and that lineup Portland could have is so much fun. Now, you talk about Philly, that's a whole nother conversation if Philly would do that. But if it's there for me, if I'm Portland, I think that's enough. You're getting Maxi and other things, obviously, but I just think now's the time, man. No matter where you send him to, I don't think Beal and Dame, I don't think Siakam and Dame, and I'll go a bit further. I don't think Beal, Siakam, and Dame are contenders in the West. There, I
No,
don't think all three of them on the team. So
yeah,
and you're only going to get one.
yeah, and
I
there's
just
no way they can even get all 3.
Exactly. I'm just saying for the sake of this argument,
Yeah,
even
yeah.
with all there's no I just don't see Portland in the West with that lineup. And I think now is the time. Give him a hug, say I love you, send him out. It's time to go, man. But for me, I would trade Damian Lillard, but it's looking like Portland's going to be building around Dame and 32 years old. What are your thoughts, man? You keeping Dame or you sending him out and letting him go?
You nailed a lot of my thoughts here. So what would they be building towards with a 32-year-old Damian Lillard if they if they trade the third overall pick? They're not going to bring in anything that substantial to make them a contender. They'd basically be trading for they'd get a great player out of it. If they pulled Beal and or it won't be and or sorry, if they pulled Beal or Siakam, that makes a pretty formidable duo that will be interesting. It'll be fun. It'll fill seats. But that team ain't going anywhere, man. They're still so far off. So I think if championship aspirations are the real goal, which obviously I'd like to think that's the goal for any and all teams.
Hmm.
Um, I think their best path to a championship, believe it or not, is trading Dame,
Yeah.
getting what you can. While this man just averaged, good Lord, what did he just average?
It
32 and a
Go
half
ahead, look it
points.
up. Look it up. Let me jump in right here. That's
Yeah,
what
yeah.
that was my next point. Is the man just had an MVP like season, and you didn't even get in the play-in. Like, what are we even talking about with Portland here? Like, this is the time right here.
Yeah.
Send him on his way. Unless you're Portland, and I'll hold my hands up. If you're Portland and you're like, we want to be the first ever in-season tournament winners, and that's why we're getting Siakam. Do your thing. You're an idiot. You're an absolute idiot. But do your thing and get Siakam. What did you got? What Dame average this year?
So Dame averaged 32.2, but I think it's even worth noting beyond just that is that in December he averaged 22.3 points. So like
Yeah,
he didn't just bounce right back in into the league. I'm sorry, this is November. In November, he averaged 22.3. He was recovering from an abdominal injury. The following month, he averaged 29.2. So to average 32.2 is insane. That just
insane.
goes to show you how insane his January, February, March was. The value does not get higher.
No.
Uh, it will not get higher, and especially if you trade for an additional borderline star, whatever you're willing to call Beal and Siakam, it doesn't get higher than it does now. Trade them while the
Yeah.
value's at its highest. keep the number 3 overall pick, draft the guy that you want to be the face of your franchise while already having Shaden Sharp, who I don't
Stud.
know if he quite has face of the franchise potential, but he has a lot of potential.
I love Shaden Sharp.
Anthony Simons has a ton of potential. This dude's just getting started, and this dude can, man, this guy can
Dolan,
shoot. So
that's my next question, right? And I don't mean to, but like that's I've seen a lot of Anthony Simons trading. I rate Anthony Simons high. I think he's a very good player, and 23 years old. I think he's ready to go. I am stunned at the amount of just willingness to let this guy stroll away for. I feel like Portland's undervaluing this guy. If he sends him out, I don't know what you're going to get for Anthony Simons. I'm not saying you should get a haul. I'm not saying he's that great, but I think he's a very good player that can absolutely be on a contender and in the Western Conference. And when you look around the West, LeBron's getting older. We don't really know how long that Golden State team is sticking around. We just talked about Jokic could be one in like 4 or 5 years to be like, "Hey, I'm gonna
yeah,
go play with my horses." Like
yeah,
that West, it could be, and by the time that Portland is of age, you're really looking at maybe New Orleans. If we get into this, we'll talk about Zion. Don't you worry. But maybe New Orleans if
ooh,
Zion gets his shit together. But the West could be wide open here soon. For me, we don't need to spend a whole hell of a lot of time on it. I'm just stunned that this is even like a real discussion. I feel like smart organizations send them off and say, "Hey, see, man,
yeah.
see you later. Thanks for your time." But
Yep. And when I look at their roster construction right now, and maybe not necessarily even construction, but just a couple of guys with a low number of age beside it that are interesting to me. I mean, you got Cam Reddish, who I still think has a ton of potential in this league.
you know,
That man's 23 years old. Like we've already mentioned, Shaden Sharp and Anthony Simons. He was Skylar Mays, who he played 6 games, but he played pretty fucking well. He averaged 15 and 8 in those 6 games. These are meaningless games, but maybe a guy you can kick tires with. They have Justice Winslow, who's still young. They have Matisse Thybulle, who's still young. They have Kevin Knox, who's still young. So give these men the keys. Uh, Add in the number 3 overall pick, and you have something exciting as shit, man. Even more exciting than being the 7th seed in the West and making the playoffs, in my opinion. But I am a Philly fan who
yeah,
tanking excites me. It's been bred into my DNA. But I think a core of Simons, Reddish, Knox is, I'm not so sure about Knox. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not saying
Piston
this guy's a
legend.
good player, but yeah, Pistons legend. That's a fact. But like,
Yeah,
he's still so young. Give him
yeah,
a give him his opportunity. Matisse Thybulle, Sixers legend, give him his opportunity. I mean, these are guys, Trent and Watford. These are
yeah.
young guys with decent potential, in my opinion. Um, and I don't know. I think they deserve their shots. Let these guys get their minutes, make their mistakes, fuck up, and learn from it, and see who you have that's actually worth building around, because you have names that uh you could let them go and regret it in a few years. I mean, especially Cam Reddish comes to mind. It doesn't seem, Cam Reddish is obviously missing something. Nobody's really given him his shot, and I'm sure there's a reason to it. It may very well be defensively or maybe an effort thing, but Cam Reddish is still so young and he has so
Hmm.
much potential. I mean, he was right there with Zion as far. I'm sorry, that's a little overstated. He wasn't right there with Zion, but I mean, he was a massive prospect in his high school class. The same year as Zion. He wasn't on Zion's level. So let me backtrack a little
I
bit
know
more.
what you mean. No,
Uh,
I know what you're getting at there.
yeah, these are guys that I would like to see. Like, if I'm a fan of a team and I have these guys on my team, I want to see these guys
Spot
get
on.
an opportunity. And I would be okay whatever you get back in the haul for Dame. I mean, we could be talking 4 or 5 first round picks,
Yeah,
couple pick swaps, couple good
yeah,
young players.
yeah,
Dude, put 7, 8, 9, 23 year olds out there, plus the number 3 overall pick, plus 4 or 5 years worth of first rounders, and you truly might be building something very, very exciting. And or you can go the Damian and Pascal Siakam route and make the 7th, or maybe if everything goes perfectly, the 6th seed. Then you probably lose early in the playoffs.
yeah.
And then
Maybe even
get
losing the
stuck in
play in.
yeah,
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 yeah.
and then you get stuck in purgatory, and it's not the way, man. So
It,
again,
if I'm a, if I'm and again, I'm a Piston fan. full disclosure, you're hearing this from a 76er fan who
Yeah,
loves. I mean, this guy gets fucking aroused when tanking comes up, and a Pistons fan who has quite literally not seen a playoff win my entire basketball life, which is
yeah,
going on 12 years now. So,
yeah.
I mean, take this with a grain of salt. But if I'm if I'm a Portland fan and I'm looking at a core of, and I'm right there with you on Cam Reddish. Now, why Atlanta, New York hasn't worked out? He's over in Portland now. If I'm looking at Cam Reddish, I'm sorry, if I'm looking at Anthony Simons, Shaden Sharp, Cam Reddish, that is such a good, solid starting three. And if you trade Dame, another big caveat to this is that Nurkic deal becomes null and void. Now you don't. I mean, that Nurkic deal sucks, but
They
it
might
doesn't
even be
matter.
able to include him.
100%. You might be able to include. If you can't, it's not like you're not dying. I mean, you can keep that Nurkic deal until he runs out. Then it becomes a tradable asset in like 2 years for an actual tanking team. It's just, I just think the upside for trading Dame is far more than keeping him. And at the end of the day, what's he become? He becomes Portland's greatest ever player, and good for him. That's awesome. That's such a great thing to accomplish there. To be one team's greatest ever player. There's only 32 teams in the league, so if you're the greatest ever player on one of them, solid. That's a good shout. But go somewhere and win, man. Like Dame, unfortunately, I think East Coast biased as well. I think there's a lot of people on the East Coast that don't actually know how good Damian Lillard is because he's playing at 10 o'clock at night. This guy's fucking electric, man. And
Yeah,
I
my ass
wish,
stays up and watches them every night. That's for
yeah,
sure.
many 12 in the morning on a Tuesday conversations with Dolan and I talk about random basketball and hockey games. So
You know
let's
my
move on.
ass is up.
Dolan, what kind of show is this?
This is a basketball show, my friend.
On basketball shows, we must talk about basketball things. And unfortunately, going on in the basketball world, we do not wish downfall on anybody. Okay. We
Never.
do not. Dolan is a happily married man to a beautiful wife. Laura's fucking phenomenal, right? I don't need to tell you that, Dolan.
These are facts.
These are absolute facts. We don't preach infidelity here. But if you gave me 400 plus $1 million at 22 years old, I don't know what kind of person I'd be. So who am I to throw stones at a man? But one of the funniest fucking things I've ever seen in my life has happened this past weekend. Zion Williamson
Poor
announced that he was
guy.
expecting a baby girl. And for the next 3 days, this woman, Mariah, what's her last name?
Mills. Who could
Mills.
forget after this
Yeah. Yeah,
travesty?
you ain't kidding, dude. Mariah Mills has gone on an absolute tangent about Zion cheating, and then another girl came out. There are so many solid memes on the Twitterverse about this. Now, this means nothing in the basketball sense, really. I mean, he should be back, but this is just another one of those things to throw at this guy who we already know can't stay away from the Bo-Bear biscuits, which we've already said are fucking delicious. We already know this,
Yeah,
but this guy's gotta stop. There's got to be a point, right? And I'm not, again. Who am I to? I've told you already. You give me 400 million at 22 years old. I was a fucking idiot at 17.
idiot.
Idiot. At 17 to 25, I was an absolute idiot. You give me $400 million. Are you kidding? I was broke and I was an idiot. You give me money, I'll be a bigger idiot. I'm not throwing stones at this guy. But at some point, we've got to stop talking about this guy off court. And we've got to start talking about this guy on the court, right? Like silence has got to be his biggest friend. Him and Ja, 1 and 2, have got to stay out of the media for the next 6 months, right? Got to.
You would hope, you would think. I mean, I'm out of things to say at this point. I mean,
You really are. I mean,
I
you really are.
and technically, to Zion's defense, my man didn't do anything wrong, man.
Nothing.
Everybody wants
Yeah.
a wet
I'm mad at him.
region, if you will.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
everybody wants to dig in. He didn't do anything wrong technically
No.
here, but this man has been put absolutely on blast in front of the entire world.
For
And
3 days.
man, if you're an NBA fan and even know the name Zion, you have to have heard of this. So I almost feel bad for the guy, man. He can't get out of his own way, and even this,
Yeah.
he didn't do anything fucking wrong here, man. He's just he's just trying to
He's
have
being a normal dude.
relations. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
just being a person, man.
Yeah, dude.
And even that, the poor fella can't stay out of his own way. So I almost, it almost feels wrong, man. I feel bad for the guy, and I'm as big as a UNC fan as you're gonna find, but I like Zion, man. I cheer for Zion. I want him to be on the floor because I think
Yeah.
when he plays, the NBA is in a good spot. I mean, he could be face the league potential, but with every passing year and every passing injury and every passing porn star that tweets at him, we start to question a little bit, and uh, I don't even know where this leaves us, man. I don't even know what to say about this whole
It's tough.
situation.
Again,
I
again,
I've probably read almost every single tweet that
every
that
single
girl
one. It's
sent out.
been
This shit's so funny, dude.
the my some of my favorite memes have been when they said, Mariah, it's been 3 days and it's been straight. Like, just go take a break, man. Like, go take. I'm telling again. We're not here to pick on this guy. I'm not going to go into what has been said about him, and I'm not putting this man's screenshots on blast here. But at some point, man, everything about Zion has been off the floor. He's only played in 30% of the games he can play in. Him and Cade Cunningham has played more games than Zion Williamson, and Zion's been in the league for a year longer. I mean, that's a fact. You can look that. That's an absolute fact. I think it's 2 more games.
Crazy fact.
It's the fact that this guy does not play, and is constantly in the media for non-basketball stuff. It's just got to end, man. It's got to end. And it's a good. What you just said is spot on. It's a good segue into the next thing. How fucking set LeBron's going to leave soon. He's going to be gone. Steph Curry is getting older. How fucking set is this league? I mean, there are
Man,
studs everywhere, and Zion could be the guy. And if you look right next to him, the guy who went number 2 in that draft, John Morant, could be the guy.
yeah.
And these two get better people around you, man. I said it before. Head over to Barnes and Noble and just sit, dude. Grab some books and relax, man. Like, get off of the phone, dude.
Head to
Like, you could
Barnes and Noble.
that's the place to be right now. Not out here on the streets, dude. Gotta get. I mean, you could be it. You could be it. Now you got generational wealth already. Dolan and I, Dylan, he's not here. I'll speak for him as well. We are just basketball fans and we want to see good basketball. And Zion's a damn good basketball player. John Morant's a damn good basketball player. Time to stop talking about all the shit you're doing off the floor and get back on the court and be you, dog. And with that, let's talk about the draft real quick. Didn't get to talk about it a couple weeks ago because we had Dylan with his Frog Wireless. Did not get to
That's
talk
all
about it last week because I was out. But the NBA draft is coming up in, I think, 11 days now. Um, I am fucking stoked on this draft.
I bet you
I am
are.
only talking about this because I am a Piston fan. We have been fucking robbed of this number 1 overall pick. I want Cam Whitmore or Jarris Walker, and if we don't get either one, I will be genuinely hurt. I genuinely am worried about, and Piston fans, let me know if I'm being too dramatic here. Genuinely worried for the next step. I like the Thompson twins. I can't tell you guys how much research I did
This
on
man has grinded. This man spent
grinding.
his vacation studying this shit. So
Loving it. And this is, to be honest with you, hold my hands up. This is usually, I've known Dolan since we were 17 and 18. This is usually Dolan's spot, right? Not that he hasn't done anything, but I usually lean on Dolan for this kind of info. And for some reason,
100%.
I got in a rabbit hole of draft news. I think that this draft class has a lot of very good players, not so much top end stars after I don't really think that Brandon Miller's a top end star either. I think he's just a very good 2 or 3 guy on a very good team, but a scorer, I mean, he's a stud. But I think Scoot, I think he could be a stud if he gets a 3-point shot. He could be very good. Victor, I'm not going to go deep in. We already know about Victor Wembanyama. But
Yeah.
this is a draft full of very good young athletic guys, man. Again, I'm not going to spend too much time, but I just want to say, if you're a basketball fan, this is a fucking time to be alive because this league is going to be stacked with talent. I mean, we are just seeing loads and loads and loads of talent. Anything you got to say before I move over to this or that, dude?
No, not really. Not really. I'll let you kind of take over the draft talk at least temporarily.
Yeah.
I'm super intrigued by the Thompson twins. I think that's so cool. We could have twins both go. I mean, not even top 10. They're probably going to both go sooner than that. So, I will say, as far as Detroit's concerned, a lot of the mocks that I've read have been Cam Whitmore. I think Cam, his kind of game, he's physical, man. He's a
Yeah.
big guy. So
Love him.
I think he could be a nice addition for Detroit. So that's kind of where my initial thoughts lean for Detroit. You already said, there's nothing left to be said about Victor Wembanyama. It's really, now it's the debate of whether Charlotte should go Scoot or not. It seems like the more mocks I read, the more I see Brandon Miller. I believe that you are kind of leaning that way as well. So,
Yep.
which I find interesting. But like you said, for many years, this was my time to shine.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
finally, the draft is almost irrelevant to me, at least from like a fan standpoint. So I'll let you, enjoy your flowers of having a shit team. I have a shit team
This
too,
is
but
yeah.
enjoy just being absolutely garbage and bottom feeding in the league.
Love
And
it.
this
Love it.
it's dude, it's fun once the NBA season's done and your
Yeah.
team sucked and you just suffered for all that time. Now you got something to look forward to. So enjoy it, man. It's a
Yeah.
special occasion.
Again, that's coming from a 76er fan. So when I say for
Factual.
years Dolan was
Years.
when I'm telling you guys, the guy to go to for the draft info. I mean, he would have notes upon notes on his iPhone 4 back in the day of just all these guys that were studs because he had
For
to because
years.
years,
Because
years.
I mean, for a little while there, things were so bad with the Sixers that, like, if NBA was on and NCAA was on at the same
Yeah,
time, I'd go watch NCAA and
you have
fantasize
to.
about the guys that we could draft onto the Sixers instead of watching the NBA. I mean, that was years and years and years, man.
Fucking miserable.
If you're a Sixer fan, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I
Yep.
could have watched Hollis Thompson, Brandon Davies,
Jeremy Grant.
Furkan Aldemir, Isaiah Cannon, but instead I just went and watched college guys that I could fantasize about, and yeah, here we are. This is
Isaiah
what we're
Cannon's
talking about.
three-point shot on 2K was fucking electric. If you know, you know.
Yeah, I don't want
The
to hear.
let's go over to this or that. Dylan is with us in spirit. He sent us some videos. Let me get them played for you right now. You ready, dude?
Yeah, man.
All right, it's number one. Here we go. If I can get this fucking thing to load. Here we go.
All right, guys, on the surface, I think this one is kind of an easy one, but I think one player has some um, bust potential and one's potential is a lot higher. Would you guys rather have Austin Reeves or Christian Brown or Braun from the Nuggets after his big game in the finals?
I will. I know where Dolan's going on this one. I'm gonna go opposite. I want Braun. The reason I want Braun is there's not I don't like Austin Reeves. I mean, that's the real answer here. I think I'm being disrespectful. I'll hold my hands up here. I think I'm being very disrespectful on Austin Reeves. I think Austin Reeves is I'm trying to think of a player to compare him to that had a good moment. Like it's not to this extent, but it's Jeremy Lin-esque. I mean, this guy has come in this, and now Jeremy Lin had a month. Okay. So again, it's disrespectful to me because Austin Reeves has had a good year. Okay. A good year from Austin Reeves, which is very hard to do in the league. I just think the moment this guy signs for a 50 to $60 million contract, he will become instantly the worst contract in the league. I will be very if LeBron leaves, which I don't think is going to happen. Um, I don't really know what I don't see where Austin Reeves fits into any team in the starting rotation. I don't love him on defense. Dolan might have stats to shit on me on this one. I'm not a big Austin Reeves guy. So for that, I'm going Braun. Recency bias as well. Braun's been fucking electric in these finals. Dolan, why do you love Austin Reeves and why do you think he's one of the greatest players of all time? And why do you like shit players?
Jeez. Yeah, what a segue into my take. I mean, I technically don't even think this is close, to be honest with you. Christian Brown, we don't even know who he is. We've seen him play a big game in the finals, basically. And he played great. He hit some big shots, some were threes, some were layups. But it's easy. I mean, he plays with arguably the best passer in the league, not to mention a point guard who's averaged double digit assists and had double digit assists in every game in the finals. So, uh, I don't really think he's even in the same stratosphere, to be honest, in this situation. And that's not even like that much of a love statement to Reeves. I hate the Lakers. I've always hated the Lakers. And more than hating the Lakers, I've always hated the guy that Laker fans swear is worth more than the rest of the league realizes. Like Kyle Kuzma, and this isn't a diss to Kuzma. He was a really good player, especially in his rookie year with the Lakers. But so many Laker fans are putting him on the same level as Tatum and stuff like that. And they're Talon Horton Tucker was the
Oh,
one after
Dolan,
that where
Dolan, Dolan. Dolan, I gotta, because that was what I was about to say. I will let you finish 1 second. There
Yep.
was a time last year where Lakers fans were talking to me on Twitter saying, "Yeah, Taylor Horton Tucker for Jeremy Grant," and I can't tell you how I wanted to literally book a flight to LA and beat the absolute shit. That is such a piss take.
Yeah.
Taylor Horton Tucker, get the
Absolutely
fuck out of here. Go ahead,
horrible.
Dolan.
Yeah, so there's always been the Laker guy that Caruso even played this role for a little while where they swore that this guy was so so good and worth so much more than he really was in reality. And I guess to a certain extent, Austin Reeves might fit that bill. However, I've credited the Lakers trade deadline many times on the show and how it led them from their 2-10 start to whatever to get to the playoffs and actually play really competitive playoff basketball. However, when I look back at what everything that I watched, I think the key change was putting Austin Reeves in the starting lineup, giving him somewhat of the keys and letting him do his thing. And I think he played great in that role. Um, he's a 14, 4-4 guy who's going to be fairly efficient. And I think there's a huge place in the NBA for that kind of player. He's not a star. He's obviously not a superstar. He's not even a borderline star, but I think he's a fine starting player in the NBA. He's going to get overpaid, but at some point, overpaid. Everybody in the whole league's overpaid, and it's only going to get worse the rest of our
Yeah,
lives. So
fact.
I
Yeah.
think we just need to readjust our definition of that. So I think Reeves is a fine player. I think he's going to get a contract. It's going to look a little rough on paper, but I feel like he's going to be worth it just in the sense of NBA contracts are about to go absolutely fucking bananas. And they already have, but they're only about to get worse. So he's, on paper, he's going to seem like this man's overpaid, but I thought he played really good basketball. I think it was a huge, huge part to the Lakers pulling off what they pulled off. And, when compared to Christian Braun, I don't think that's really, I don't think that's quite fair. Christian Braun, we haven't seen shit
Yeah.
from him technically,
No, I agree. No,
and that's not a diss to him. It's really
yeah.
just more so a lack of opportunity. But Reeves got his opportunity. I thought he played very well with it. He earned himself a check. We'll see if he continues to earn himself a check.
Absolutely fair. I did 100% want to leave it on that. One of us, I'll say this: one of us will be right, one of us will be wrong. Can't wait to see which one is which.
Hell yeah.
We'll know next year, that's for sure.
Yes, we
But
will.
again, Reeves
Win goes to
earned.
Detroit.
Fuck that. Reeves earned himself this contract. Shout out to him, man, because you're about to get paid. And congrats on dating Taylor Swift. Let's move over to Dylan's second. This or that. Allegedly.
All right, for this one, I feel like it's a very timely one. Pretty simple and also kind of hard when you think about it. But would you rather be your star player of your franchise right now be John Morant or Zion Wilmington?
Good Lord.
All right. Well, I mean, we just covered that whole thing. Zion and Ja just can't seem to keep themselves out of. Now, again, Dolan said it a bunch. Neither one of these guys have done anything illegal, right? I love women. Respect the hell out of women. I get it. I get it. But we got to play some basketball soon. Got to play some basketball soon. Okay.
But getting your bone in real quick, that doesn't
I'm not mad.
it doesn't inhibit your
I'm
ability
not.
to play.
Yeah, I'm not mad.
No, I
I'm not mad.
understand. I'm adding on to your point.
Yeah. Do you? Hey, do your thing with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't care. What do I care?
Not my place.
Not who am I to judge? Right. I've been to the strip club with you for your bachelor party.
That's a
Right.
fact.
All right, it's all right, dude. It's all right. If you were throwing around a toy gun, fair, dude. Fair play, Ja. I'm not mad at you. Now, I think you're a fucking liar, and I think your team's a liar.
That's
But
bogus as fuck.
I'm honestly, I desperately. There's a little side note. We'll get back to Dylan's thing. When I saw that report, I put it up on the show's Twitter at the Post Up Boys. Go follow that. When I saw that report, I was desperate to find audio. I needed to see one of Ja's team members come out and say, no, that was a toy gun. I needed it, man, because that's the biggest amount of bullshit I've ever. Listen, we ain't idiots. None of us are idiots. A couple of us on Twitter are, but me and Dolan are not idiots. For me to answer Dylan's question, give me Ja, man. I like Ja's game a bit more. I just can't see. Ja doesn't have the injury history that Zion does, and Ja's. I was gonna say overall ability to lead a team, but I don't think that's true at all. Give me Ja. Give me Ja just on the fact that he stays on the floor. We've seen more of him, significantly more of him than Zion. And again, I love Bo Bear biscuits, man. Those are fucking good. Bojangles should fucking sponsor us. Go ahead, Dylan.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna have a hard time disagreeing. I'm gonna go with John, I'm gonna keep it fairly short. I mean, a lot of it is, availability is the best ability, which is it's funny to say that in a debate like this because Lord knows what the availability for any guy is going forward. But we've seen a lot of John Moran on the floor. A lot of the reasons we didn't see him were, this past year is, it's not even legal allegations. It's just being silly on Instagram, I guess. But to be fair, he's had his fair share of injuries too. But um, he's been on the floor a lot. He's played
Yeah,
really well in those minutes. Uh, he's been there for his team a whole lot more than Zion, at least to this point. Um, and I think his potential is just so elite, man. And point guards, Jokic may very well end up being the exception here, but I think point guards are how you win the championship right now, or at least
agreed.
lead ball handlers. Because whatever you want to call LeBron, he's obviously doesn't start a point guard, but I'm still willing to call him the lead
Agreed.
ball handler. I think lead ball handlers are the ones that are going to win you championships more times than not in today's NBA. And I think Ja has the ultimate potential, man. The sky is the absolute limit for this man. So just don't. I mean, you can have
Put the
guns,
gun
man.
down.
I have a gun, and upstairs. It's
Yeah,
fine. It's cool. Just
yeah.
you don't even have to put it down, man. Don't record. Now,
Don't.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
just don't even
Don't.
push record. And that's on his friend, I guess. In the second occasion, just don't
Be
push
smarter.
record. Just
Yeah,
don't push record. It's like, and then we'd, if he didn't put, if that wasn't recorded, we'd be looking at Ja like,
yeah.
I
Again,
thought, I thought Ja, he manned up. He got up on stage. He had his interviews after the first incident. He said, I fucked up. I'm willing to learn from it. So on, so be it. That's cool. That's cool. They didn't play that great in the postseason. He's young. The whole team's young. He stepped up. He said, "This shit's on me." I need to be better. I need to do this. I need to do that. I thought like he showed signs of growth. He showed signs of maturity. Anybody can have a fucking publicist or anything like that. But
yeah.
regardless, I thought he showed some interesting signs, and there's obviously no doubt in his game and his ability. So just cancel.
Relax.
Just get Instagram off your phone, John. You're gonna be so fucking good, pal. You're gonna be
Barnes
so good.
and Noble, dude.
Yeah,
Get there.
go chill at Barnes& Noble and read anatomy books or something, pal.
Get you a
Or
coffee.
basketball history, man. Anything. Whereas
Something.
Zion, it's hard to. We don't know. I mean, even dating back to college when he, infamously busted through the Nike shoe.
Yeah,
We've never seen the man healthy, man. We've
yeah.
never seen him healthy, and we've seen Ja healthy for long periods of time. We've seen him
He's been elite.
dominate basketball for long periods of time. So, I got to go, Ja.
Yeah. No, I'm not again, I think unfortunately we're on the same page. Real quick before I go to the last one from Dylan, how elite, I mean, I'll give Zion, I don't want people to think that we're just picking on Zion. I'm not. How elite could New Orleans be if Zion was just out there playing? I mean, New Orleans number one overall team in the West at the beginning of the year, right? Like this guy, like that is the difference. The number one to the play in, like that is the gap there. That is
Yeah.
how good this New Orleans team could be with Zion. And we've already seen what Memphis is with Ja. Like just fucking get on the floor, dude. Like what are we? I'm not saying this whole shut up and dribble thing, but
No,
in
no,
this
no, no.
instance,
That's not my style. But
yeah, just
uh,
get on the floor somehow. Like
how
just
about
get there.
don't Instagram live and dribble? Like
Yeah,
just chill out, man. Like, have fun, live your life, dude. I did so many stupid fucking
yeah.
things when I was your age. Last thing in the world I'd ever want to do is get up here and judge. But come on, man,
Don't
this
hit
shit's so
record.
avoidable, dude.
It is. Don't hit record and organize your women better. You'll be fine, dude. You'll be
Yeah, dude.
fine, man.
Yeah,
You'll be
yeah.
fine. Let's
So
go to the
so
last one from Dylan here.
one last quick
Yeah.
statement that I want to say is Zion's upside, I would still say is higher, but his downside seems lower. And
Spot
I'm all
on.
right taking the middle ground there
Yeah, it's
with Ja
spot on because
because
at
the
the end,
middle ground ain't a bad scenario by any means with Ja.
yeah, spot on. I mean, that whole thing, I'm not going to dive any deeper than that. That's spot on. I mean, 100% spot on. Last one from Dylan.
All right, guys. For this or that, Would you rather have Jason Tatum or Carmelo Anthony to build around? Carmelo Anthony in his prime.
Absolute classic from Dylan to get the Celtics back in here. We had a whole show not talking about the fucking Celtics, and look at this guy. Brought them right back in, reeled them in. We didn't talk about them at all this entire time. I don't You might disagree with me here. I don't know how this is even a debate right here. Jason Tatum is what, 24 years old? Carmelo Anthony in his prime was a fucking not that Tatum's not right now. Melo was fucking elite. Scoring title in New York. I'm also biased. I love Melo's game. Hate New York. Need that said. Hate New York. Other than the Liberty. Let's go Liberty.
Other than the Liberty.
Other than the Liberty, baby. Let's go Liberty. But Carmelo Anthony is a fucking elite talent, man. Like he was I fucking love Melo. Will always be devastated that Melo. I came into the league during that end of the go to work era in Detroit. Melo should have been on that team. We should have drafted him instead of Darko. That should have been the play there. I don't think this guy ever would have left. I fucking love Carmelo Anthony, man. Give me Melo over Tatum in Melo's prime. Even in I don't want to say not in Melo's prime. That's a bit disrespectful to Tatum because I do like Tatum. Do you like Tatum? You probably don't because of the whole Philly thing and Boston. But I like Tatum. I think he's a good player. Would I want him on Detroit? Yep, 100% I would because I've been starved of good players for years. But I give me Melo all day long. Go ahead, dude.
Interesting. So this is another one. Well, last one I said I don't have a lot to say, and then I said a lot. I don't have a ton to say about this one. I think this is such a difficult comparison to make because we've seen Carmelo's his career has been fulfilled. We've seen his destiny. We have not seen Tatum's, and he's just made it deep into the postseason pretty much every year of his career. You got to think he makes that next step at some point. Tatum's not going anywhere. Very young, obviously, so good. Still quite inconsistent. My goodness, this man's highs and lows are so vast. He's like the Grand Canyon of basketball. Like you never know. I mean, this guy can score 48 points and then score like 13 the
13.
next game. And nobody's stunned.
Yeah.
Nobody's stunned. So
No one.
I think this is such a difficult comparison. We know what Melo amounted to. We're not even remotely close to seeing the end game with Tatum, and we've also seen him get so far so many times so quickly into his career. And you got to think this experience is going to come, end up being to his benefit, even when it feels bad in the moment. All these trying times. We're losing this season, losing in the finals last season. I mean, these are good experiences in the long run, and I think Tatum will benefit from them enough to take the lead over Carmelo in this specific argument. I think Tatum does win a ring before it's all said and done. Man,
Let me ask you a
it
question.
kills me to
Let me
say
ask
that.
you a question. The when you taking Tatum over Russell Westbrook? Not now, but Russell in his prime. This Tatum or Russell Westbrook in his prime? Who do you think goes down as the better player? You think it's Tatum?
Yeah, I mean, again, very very difficult to answer because we've seen what one guy has amounted to. It's also very easy to be prisoner of the moment. I mean, we see Tatum in his prime versus a Russell has spent time with different teams this season.
Let me tell you why I asked before you because it's not the answer is not dependent really on anything. The reason I asked that is you and I would have both said in 2013 that Thunder team's going right back to the finals at some point. I don't think Russ has been back to a final since. I don't think James Harden's been back to a final since. The only reason Kevin Durant went back to a finals is because he's an absolute snake and went to the best team that ever played the game. And I used to love Kevin Durant. I just couldn't do it after that.
Do.
Yeah, the guy's game is fucking immaculate, man. I do genuinely love Kevin Durant, but it hurt my feelings. But this, I'm looking at Tatum went to the finals last year. As I'm in the same boat as Dolan. You get your lumps in the playoffs. It just makes you. But we've seen it time and time again with greats how they've had struggles early on when they're young, and then when they hit their prime, they go. I mean, I think it's easy to say now that Tatum wins one, but we've seen it. We've seen that guys very much, and I bring up Russ. That was the first one that came to my mind. There's probably a million other ones out there, but the first one that came to mind was that OKC team, and this Boston team looks like it's going to be different very soon. Whether that be Brown there or Smart gone or Chris Paul, there's a lot of avenues they could go this offseason. And if Brown leaves and you're replacing him with just Chris Paul, is that better in the East? It's a conversation for another day for sure. But I think that this is for as good as Tatum is, it's clearly a team game. And this is a big offseason coming up for Boston because this will show if they're going to move forward with this progression they've had, or if they're going to be one of those teams, or Tatum's going to be one of those guys that we look back on in 6-7 years and go, damn man, like how did he not ever get back to one? Because Russell Westbrook has
Man,
never that Thunder team never got back to one, and does KD ever really get to one? It's crazy, man,
I mean,
absolutely
that's
crazy.
really a fascinating perspective, to be honest. I mean, wow. I mean, that's a very thought provoking because when we really break down what's about to happen this offseason, it's really hard to imagine that Boston walks into the next season a better team. Might have a better coaching staff. I think they obviously already do with all their assistants that they picked up. Another year of Mazzola experience, whatever that means for them. But roster construction wise, it's and Dylan, we'll let Dylan talk about that for a while throughout this offseason, but it's gonna be really hard to walk in next season better. So that's so possible that this that his best chances are already behind him. When it feels like
Yeah,
his best chances may and should be in front of him. That's not always the case, man. It's hard to say. So actually, a really fascinating perspective kind of put me in a different mindset to a certain extent. However, um, I'm still going to go Tatum over Mello.
okay, fair. No, fair. It's very fair. I think Tatum's a brilliant player, man. He's again, I've said it a bunch this podcast. This league is in a very good spot with young guys, man. They got a bunch of talent, man. I don't know if we've ever seen this much ball handling talent in the league. Like really, truly, like guys that are just studs, man, from all three levels of the floor, man. It's going to be awesome, man. The future's bright for this league. Adam Silver's cooking behind the scenes. But yeah, a lot of this next season is going to be different for a lot of teams, and I think Boston. There's a lot of hype around Boston, but I'm right there with you. I don't really see a world in which they get. They could. I don't not. I don't. It's not that I don't see a world. I can definitely see a world where they're walking into next season not as good as this season, but time will tell. And that is definitely going to be a conversation for this offseason, which you guys should not go away. This is going to be a fucking electric offseason. A lot of shit we're going to talk about. A lot of teams go over. Draft is in a couple. It's in a week. The finals going to be over. Draft's coming up. 76ers might be shit next year. It's going to be fucking electric. You guys
Going to
stick
be
around.
the NBA offseason is damn near unmatched in my opinion. NFL is
Really.
really exciting too, but NBA, man, NBA loves the drama, dude. They love it. Like I think earlier in the show, I compared it to a reality TV show. So,
Mhm.
and that's exactly what this offseason is about to be like. I mean, every season, so much changes. So I cannot wait. We aren't going anywhere, man.
Nowhere.
This show ain't going nowhere. We're gonna be
Nowhere.
here pretty much weekly, and maybe a show's a little bit shorter without games to talk about. But man, this off season will keep us busy. This off season should be freaking awesome.
You ain't
So
kidding. If you're a
very, very
Pistons
excited
fan,
for it.
stick around because it's going to be fucking electric this offseason, boys. Thank you very much for listening. From Dylan, Dolan, and myself, we appreciate the hell out of everybody that tunes in every single week. Thank you for getting involved on our Twitter at the Post Up Boys. Go give it a follow. Like I said, I'll put that thread from this past season and all how hilarious it's been on the Twitter. So go give that a look. Take 30 minutes out of your day, grab some snacks, grab a drink because it's a good time to sit and laugh and all the things you forgot about. Solid stuff. Dolan, where can the people find you at before I close this out?
At Ryan Props with a Z on the end on Twitter.
Guys, go follow this man. Give him his praises because he's using an iPhone 3, and that's how he does all of his sports gambling info. I mean, it's crazy to watch this guy. He's also 6'4", and his hands are fucking massive. If you know Jared Goff's got massive hands. Detroit Lions quarterback. Dolan has the same fucking hand size as Jared. Dolan's seriously. Go give this man his flowers. We've been around with this guy when he couldn't afford French fries, and now he's absolutely fucking killing it on the gambling scene. Go follow at Dylan Bond on Twitter, at DillBond00. Celtics fan, always seems to find a way to get this show back into talking about the Celtics. Myself and Dolan does not give a shit. So if you're a Celtic fan, go follow Dylan on Twitter. He needs more Celtics fans to talk to with. And you can find me at Carefree Willis. Come hang out, talk about the Pistons. Most importantly, though, give the show a follow at the Post Up Boys. Come hang out with us over there. A lot of draft stuff coming up, a lot more episodes coming up. Again, Dolan said it a minute ago, we are not going anywhere. See you all next week. I don't think Dolan will be there. You'll be off on vacation.
Yeah, I don't believe I will be here next week. So for the third straight week, it'll be a 2-man booth. So it went me and Dylan, me and Michael, then Michael Dylan.
That's right. Tune in next week for me and Dylan. I've known Dylan since 5th grade. Should be a pretty electric show. This show is fucking awesome. Probably the best one. Dylan and I probably can't top this one because Dylan and I are absolute idiots. But this was a solid fucking show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get stoked for 2 weeks from now when the boys are fucking back. That show is going to be fucking awesome.
Damn right.
Thank you all so much for listening. We'll see you all next time.